What's up, guys, and welcome to this week's episode of XP and the Rookie. I'm XP.
And I'm the Rookie.
All right, guys, and today we are brought to you by our sponsor, Dazoo Games, located in Easley, South Carolina. Check them out online at DazooGames.com. Check them out in-store. Come on Thursdays and get a game in with us. And today, guys, you know, last week we talked a little bit about how to play the game.
Yep.
You know, if you guys want a little bit more gameplay videos, let us know in the comments. We'll definitely have some Commander gameplay coming up. We do plan on doing a short video, or probably not that short, but we're definitely going to do a gameplay video of the new Commander set. So be looking forward to that. That should be coming in the next couple of weeks. But today, we're actually going to be discussing how do we get started in this wonderful format of Commander. So, in my opinion, there's 4 ways to start building a Commander deck. The first way, and honestly the way that I recommend doing if you are a new player to the game, is just buying a pre-constructed deck. Right now is a perfect time because we do have 4 amazing precons coming out.
Insane precons coming out.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I started playing Commander about 3 years ago. And out of these years, like, this is by far the set that I am most excited about. I'm buying all 4 of them.
Yes.
And I'm ready to unpack them, play with them, upgrade them, and just have some fun with them. But yes, number one way, especially if you're a new player and don't have a vast collection to choose from, pick up a pre-constructed deck and be sure to just play it at your local game store. But there are 3 other ways.
Yes.
And Rookie, if you want to take it away and say the other 3 ways.
So this is how I actually started my first Commander deck that I actually built. I picked the color. And so that's one of the ways is you can find colors that maybe you see like you might be interested in. You know, if you look at our color philosophy video that we have, that can kind of help you get an idea of maybe a color you might be interested in. And what you can do is you can start with a color, you know, depending on maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2, preferably no more than 3 for your first one. Keep it under 3. And then just pick a color and then find a commander that you think best suits how you want to play in that color. That's one way. Another way is like a theme or some sort of tribe. So, you know, all creatures have some sort of tribe or maybe some sort of theme that they fit into, whether it's a +1/+1 counter deck or a graveyard, you know, kind of shenanigans deck. Or with tribes, you know, you've got vampires and elves and all these. I mean, it's endless with that subject. Especially, I really love that for maybe like your second or third commander build, because at that point you've kind of got an idea of what you want to do, and you're like, man, you know, I kind of like vampires. Like, let me do a vampire deck. So that's the other way. And then lastly, which is probably like one of the most simple ways to do it, is to just find a commander. Just find one commander that you like. We always recommend going to edhrec.com because they have the best and most easiest selection of any commander card that you can think of that you would want to play with. But yeah, those are the three main ways. You can either A, just start with your commander and just build from there. You can B, find a theme or some sort of tribe that you really want to work out with, or C, you can just pick a color or some sort of guild that you think you may be interested in. And so those are the main ways that we have to really start your commander process.
Yeah, and so after you let's say you pick a color or a set of colors, then you're kind of like, all right, cool. Well, let's work with like black maybe. Kind of think about what you want to be doing in black. You know, you're going to have a lot of synergies with life loss and life gain. You may want to kind of find your way into a tribe, vampires. Honestly, I find that building decks around tribes, and tribes are creature types. So like Rookie was saying, you know, elves, merfolk, wizards, warriors,
dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. Basically they'll be in the creature type line, and that's what you're building around. And naturally tribes have synergy with one another. They work well together, and you'll be able to assemble a very synergistic deck very easily if you kind of have a tribe to base your deck around. So my personal favorite way of building is finding a new commander, because for me, I'm more of a brewer at heart. I like to build new decks. I'm not afraid to tear apart old decks to put a new deck together.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure over the course of this year alone, I've built destroyed and reassembled a total of about 20 decks.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like
Yeah,
around 20.
like
from what I've
I
seen.
cycle through decks. I find new commanders that I like. I take apart old decks. I build a deck. I play it once. I'm really not feeling it. I don't really have many ways of upgrading it, and honestly, I just don't feel like upgrading it.
Yep.
So I just take it apart, put the pieces somewhere else, and don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about brainstorming. It's all about finding who you are as a Magic player.
Yep.
And just finding like what you like to do, because honestly, I can tell you from experience, the first couple times you play decks probably isn't going to be your favorite thing. The first deck that I started playing was a Nekasar deck. Now, you guys have probably heard us talking a little bit about it just on the show. It is now one of my favorite decks. But back then, I didn't want anything to do with that. I didn't like forcing people to draw stuff, like hurting them. And it was just like, I don't know, it just felt like really gross to me, and I just didn't like it. So the first deck that I built was a Saskia deck, which was 4 colors. It was minus white, so it was red, green, blue. No, sorry, it was minus blue, red, green, white, and black, which I really do like those 4 colors a lot. Most of my decks are a arrangement of those colors.
Yeah, you barely have anything blue.
Yeah, I finally have a deck with blue in it. I have 2 decks with blue in it. One of them is 5 colors, so it
Doesn't really count.
doesn't really count. Then I have Nekasar, and then now I have an Adeliz, the Cinderwind deck.
Right.
So I have 3 decks that have blue in them, but they're
One
not.
of them doesn't count.
Yeah, one of them definitely doesn't count. But nonetheless, it was a tokens deck. And Saskia made it to where whenever you cast her, you pick an opponent, and whenever you deal damage to any opponent, you deal that much damage to the chosen opponent. So it was very aggressive, very, and it repopulated the board like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because there's a new token-based commander coming out, and that's the deck I am so ready to just figure out how to make
Stupid.
awesome. Yeah.
You want to make it stupid.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine.
super excited about that deck. And then I ended up trashing that deck because I didn't really get tired of it, but I wanted something different. Like, it just kind of did the same thing over and over again, which was fine. It was fun, but I just kind of got tired of it. So then I built Galta, which is mono green Stompy, and I was like, this deck is awesome. And I've been literally upgrading it since then, and that's why it's the monster it is today.
Ridiculous.
And then I just started amassing like a collection of cards. With each set, like at least one new legendary kind of piqued my interest, so I'd start building that. I built a Gishath deck, and then sometimes I'd find older cards and be like, "Oh, this is a cool commander," like build those. And then now it's come to a point where I usually build at least one new deck with every set, and just kind of find my way through building that way. And that I just love building like. Off camera, like whenever spoiler season happens, all I can talk about is, oh man, this commander's gonna be sick. Like here's a 7-piece combo with it.
Yeah,
like
I fondly remember when spoiler season started coming out. When spoiler season started for C19,
Yeah.
we would just send each other back and forth the
Yeah.
spoiler cards on Instagram. And then if I sent him one, I was like, dude, this card's ridiculous. He'd be like, here's a combo for it, and he would just give me a list for the combo. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Spoiler season with like any set for
So
me
much fun.
is like Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like you start every day. You're just like, all right, what's coming out now? And I'm literally just like sitting on my computer, like hitting refresh like every 5 minutes. Like I have a tab up at work. That's the Magic spoiler page, and I'm literally like. I work for, an hour and a half. I like click over, make sure nothing new came out, like work for an hour and a half. And then I like check every now and then because I'm just so excited and I'm like ready to get this product out and like play it. And then I plan to build probably 3 or 4 new decks just out of the random legendaries of C19.
Keurig.
Yeah, Keurig. I think Keurig's definitely going to be my
different
mono.
video, but he's ridiculous. Continue.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I build. Like I am very much a brewer. But I have certain decks that I just haven't strayed away from. Like Galta had I upgrade him. Like I upgrade him to a point where now he's absurd and there's very few cards I can add to make him, in my opinion, better. Then I have decks like Gishath, which is just so unique because he's dinosaur tribal, and I don't know if we'll really see much of a dinosaur set like we did with Ixalan again. So he just kind of stays put together because he's just a fun deck, and he's a really easy deck for beginners.
Yeah.
And then I have Nekasar, I don't take apart Nexus R for very personal reasons, but also it's like the deck that I play whenever I just kind of feel like doing something different, because it's so much different than my regular play style.
Yes.
It's very passive aggressive, whereas my usual decks are very aggressive. But that's sort of the craziness of my deck building. So, Rookie, what's your kind of deck building strategy?
So I've really I only have 2 commander decks at this point, but I already have a strategy. Actually, technically, I have 3. I've got one that's basically done. I just have to get it all together.
Right.
But so basically, my strategy is I rarely ever just find a commander that I'm just like piqued my interest with, and I just build just off of that. 90% of the time, how I like to do my building is I start with a color.
Yeah.
So like with my first ever deck, I had played XP had a Niv Mizzet deck, which was Niv Mizzet was a 3 red and 3 blue to cast.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember his full name for it. Do you?
Niv Mizzet Perrin. So the newest iteration, or sorry, the second newest iteration because of anyway. But yeah, it's Niv Mizzet Perrin. We'll have a picture up. Basically, he's spell slingy. You draw a lot of cards. You deal a lot of damage.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was the first really taste that I got of control, and I really, really enjoyed that. And so my brain was like, well, blue, red, let me look at blue because I like blue. Therefore, I found Tauren. I built Tauren, and Tauren's continuing to grow into a pretty strong control commander. And so that's how I built my first one. And then so now, like I have like the deck that I have that's basically finished is an Edgar Markov deck, which I know Cardinal Sin, sue me if you want. But he's ridiculous, and I took advantage of that. And the reason being is because I started having a little bit more of an interest in black.
Yeah.
And I wanted a really strong black commander, but I didn't want a mono black. Right. I was like, I want something that adds a little bit more ambiance, I guess, into it. And so therefore I found Edgar. I was like, I love this. I'm usually not really into red all that much, but him having that just boosts the character of his card that much more. And so usually for me personally, I like to build off of color or theme. I like doing theme or tribe as well. That's usually like when I go on EDH Rec. First 2 things I look at are colors and then tribes. I really don't look at singles all that much. I'm just not interested because I really like super high synergy. Like I love it when every card works with every other card in the deck. That's like my main thing. Like I want my decks to have like 95 or higher percent synergy if I possibly can. Like
and that actually is one cool thing about EDH Rec. Whenever you go, you can choose a color, you can find a commander of the color, and then what's interesting, so basically how EDH Rec works is it pulls information from a bunch of deck building sites.
Right.
And it calculates everything together to find out what cards have the most synergy based on the decks that people are building. So there's literally like a statistic underneath every card based on the commander on how much synergy it has.
Right.
And
that's so helpful.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's fun for me. Like what I normally do, how I use EDH Rec is I go on there and usually I'm looking at decks I've already built.
Right.
And I'm just like, what other cards have people included? Because a lot of my decks tend to be very recent cards, but that's just because my collection is mainly recent cards.
Right.
So sometimes I find like a shining gem and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Like I didn't know that card existed. And then I'll either buy it or I'll just be like, it'll just be like kind of in the back of my mind somewhere, and I'll just keep my decks the way they are. But continue.
Yeah, well, so I mean, that's basically the way that I really enjoy building. When it comes to precons, because I know that was one that we had discussed. I love the idea of precons. Now, granted, unfortunately, when I joined Magic, the precons that I could get for Commander were C18, and not to be a slight towards C18, but C18 was a very weak year for the Commander precons.
Yeah, it definitely the commanders were a little, I would say, lackluster. Now, they were good starting off points. They found their way into, most of the pieces found their way into other decks.
Right.
Very few of them have kind of held the test of time to find their way into consistent play.
Right. And so, but with that though, I see If you just look at a year before, C17, ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, Ur-Dragon, Edgar Markov. I mean, you just talk about those two. They're ridiculous cards.
Yeah.
And then also, you looking at C19, we're seeing some insane reprints. We're seeing just some really great synergetic cards and some insane secondary commanders that are in a lot of these decks.
Yeah.
And so, for me, precons are a super huge opportunity because it gives me the chance to get a deck that's already been somewhat tuned, one that can play on its own, but it gives me the opportunity to just shoot that deck through the roof if I want to. And it's way cheaper than trying to do that.
Very true.
I mean, if you think about whatever the MSRP was for a C17 Edgar Markov deck in 2017, which is probably $30, $40.
Yeah.
Right? To how much, if you try to get a full C17 precon, it's well over $100 at this point. And so what that just shows, guys, is precons are they're very hard to tell of how it's going to go. C18, they're not rising right now. They're not doing too well. But C19, I mean, we're seeing, like I said, just some insane reprints, some insane things going on with that. And so I do really like precons. I always want to get, from now on, I'm going to get 1 to 2 of the precons, maybe 4, like the XP.
Yeah.
Especially with this set. I mean, 4 is looking real nice to have. And so, yeah, that's basically my philosophy is I like to have a color or a theme, and then I pick my commander.
Yeah, exactly. And the pre-constructed decks are wonderful starting off points.
Yes.
In C19, what we're seeing is that the 3 commanders that can work with the deck right out of the box actually have a lot of synergy within the deck already.
Yes.
So you're actually able to use them. They may not be the best fits, but they still work well enough with what the decks are trying to do that you're not going to have a horrible time like you may have had in seasons past.
Right.
But if you're not going the pre-constructed route, and let's say you've played Magic for a long time, or maybe you're getting back into Magic, you have like an older collection. If you're wanting to start somewhere off, just think about it this way, and this is how I always start my decks, is I consider 40 to 35 lands.
100%, yep.
Yeah, just based on the colors you're running, that for me has almost always worked. And lands are something that you tune up every time. You're kind of like, okay, well, a lot of the times I'm getting mana flooded. I'm getting too many lands, so I'll take out like 1 land. I usually only change in increments of like 1 or 2, just so that way I'm not altering the number by too much. And then the rest of the deck is going to be really whatever you want.
Right.
And you're eventually going to kind of chisel away cards that are sort of like pet cards or cards that you don't really need. Yep. You're going to kind of start to realize what you do need, which is going to be card draw. You're going to need some ramp, and you need some stuff to actually help you manipulate other people's boards,
right?
Whether it be destroying stuff or removing stuff from the field, whatever it may be. But you'll eventually find that you'll want to probably have about a third of the non-land cards be fully synergistic with what you're trying to do, and then the other 2/3 is going to be your ramp, your card draw, and just like support, like good support for your colors, other creatures that help, just things to sort of help pump up your board, maybe protect you from board wipes and that sort of thing. But going into it, I will say this, in my years of playing Magic, the most important thing is to have fun. And I know that sounds like super cheesy, but at the same time, like, I stopped playing Magic because I wasn't having fun with it.
Right.
I wasn't playing a format that I liked. I was drafting like every other week. I was really only going for my friends, but we just weren't really playing what I was really wanting to play. And it wasn't until I found Commander and actually was like, you know what, like, enough people are playing this Commander thing, like, I want in, built my own deck, played my own deck, enjoyed it, and kind of got a little bit addicted to it, and just kind of ended up, like, I was like, this is my format. Like, I'm a Commander player. Like, I'm a filthy casual, and I love it. And, like, no one will ever take that away from me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I love I love how, I mean, Magic's a game, guys. Like, remember that. Like, Magic was intended to be a game, to have fun with. Don't ever get to a point, especially for people that are just coming in. It's a game. It's okay if you lose a bunch. I lose all the time. I still lose all the time. You know, but that's the thing is that's why we tell you build a deck that you have fun with, because you may not always be winning with it.
Exactly.
You know, I'm a very competitive person and I love to
Same.
win, but I would much rather have fun with the deck I'm playing with and lose than rather be playing a deck that I absolutely hate and win all the time. That's just not fun for me. And so like that's, you know, when I speak about my Edgar Markov deck, I see it and I'm like, this deck's going to be powerful and I like what it's doing, but I won't know until I play it.
Exactly.
And no matter how powerful the deck is, if I don't have fun with it, I don't play it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've had plenty of my decks just end up, I'll have them, I'll play them once or twice, and they'll just kind of sit in a deck box for a while. Sometimes I'll even forget about them. Like I had a feather deck.
Yep,
The feather deck was actually very powerful. Like able to kill another player on like turn 4 sometimes. It was a fun deck. It was fun for a couple weeks, but I just kind of got tired of it and I stopped playing it. I built what was it? The new Teysa Karlov with the doubling of death triggers. Very fun deck. Not my playstyle though. I played it a couple times, got tired of it, and threw it away. Took it apart.
Right.
Found other places for it, and that's fine because you know you got to think about it this way: you're putting it together a deck of 100 cards. Surely some of those cards can be used somewhere else.
Exactly.
So it's like your decks just evolve into one another, and also like you learn new things. Like with the feather deck, I learned that combat tricks actually might have a place in Commander. Like a lot of people are against that, but at the same time, like that deck fully ran on combat tricks, and I kind of moved that into this Adeleys Cinderwind deck where my pump spells don't just pump one creature; it pumps all of them. It makes all of them bigger and oppressive, and you live and learn. And as you progress through and you build new decks, or as you just tune up one deck and see how other decks play, you learn how to make your decks better.
Yes.
It's just a constant evolving thing, and that's why I love it so much. Is like you learn so much, you build so much, and you actually develop a community. I feel like in my personal experience, I've built a community faster with Commander than I have playing any other format.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think if I had started with any other format other than Commander, I wouldn't have had so many friends or so many people that just like enjoy coming to the shop and playing. It's just so much more of a fun format for me. Personally, like Standard's cool. I played in a Standard event before. Which was fun. But Commander's just, for me, it's the most fun. It's casual, but I mean you can make it ridiculously competitive as well.
Yeah.
It's really how you want to play it, and that's the best part about Commander, and that's why we make these videos for Commanders.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, we love it, and it's really up to you on how you want to play it. We're just giving you our opinions on it and trying to share whatever advice that we have from it. So yeah, I fully agree with you. Making a deck that suits your play style, that suits who you are, and that doesn't really have to follow the borders of any other thing else, do it. I mean, that's what Commander's all about.
Yeah, try it, and if you hate it, take it
Take it apart.
build a new one. And to get those cards to build a new deck, or to find yourself in a wonderful Commander community, check out your local game store.
Yes.
And if that local game store happens to be the Zoo Games in Easley, South Carolina,
Come on down.
Come on by. Thursday night is our Commander night.
Yes.
Most of the time, both of us are there, if not one of us.
Yes.
And we're always happy to play. Sometimes we're moderating, and we're just having a good time. And we're there to teach. We're there to learn, and we're just there to have fun, guys. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of XP and the Rookie, and we're going to see you in the next one.